city rain had been falling for hours, cold and relentless, soaking through coats and hearts alike. Inside La Maison, the most exclusive restaurant downtown, everything sparkled. Chandeliers glowed like gold, violins played softly, and laughter floated above clinking glasses. But just outside, pressed against the glass, Clara stood watching. Her reflection looked like a ghost, hair damp from the rain, cheeks pale from hunger, and eyes that carried too many nights without sleep. She had been turned away from 3 diners already that night. Her last few coins jingled faintly in her pocket, not enough for soup, barely enough for bus fare. But something about the warmth inside pulled her in. She stepped through the glass doors hesitantly, shivering under the bright lights. The maître's smile faltered the moment he saw her. "Miss, this establishment is—" I just need a minute," she interrupted softly, her voice trembling. "Please." Across the room at a corner table with a single candle, Ethan Hale, the city's most elusive millionaire, was sitting alone. His suit was immaculate, his posture perfect, but his eyes were tired, his plate half untouched. He had built empires, commanded thousands, yet he hadn't felt warmth in years. His wife was gone, his family distant, his friends replaced by boardrooms and headlines, and then he heard her voice. "Excuse me, sir," Clara whispered, approaching his table, wringing her hands. May I have your leftovers?" The restaurant went silent. Forks froze midair. Someone gasped. The maitre d' started toward her again, whispering urgently, "Sir, I'll remove her immediately." Ethan raised a hand, stopping him. His gaze had already locked on her, not her ragged coat or soaked shoes, but her eyes. There was something in them. Hunger, yes. Shame, yes. But also light. A strange, quiet dignity that caught him completely off guard. He spoke slowly. "You're hungry?" Clara nodded, swallowing hard. "I'm sorry, sir. I wouldn't ask, but food shouldn't go to waste." The world around them blurred. The luxury, the noise, the staring eyes. All Ethan saw was truth, and something inside him, something that had long been silent, stirred. He pushed his chair back. "Sit down." Clara's head snapped up. "What?" "I said sit down," Ethan repeated softly. "No one should have to beg for leftovers." The maitre d' blinked in disbelief. "Sir." "It's fine," Ethan said firmly, pulling out the chair himself. "Bring her the menu. Anything she wants." Clara hesitated, tears forming in her eyes. I can't afford—" "You don't have to," he said gently, almost smiling. "Tonight, you're my guest." And as she sat there trembling, the warmth from the candle reflected in her tear-streaked eyes. The diners whispered, but Ethan didn't care. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about business or money or loneliness. He was thinking about her, this rain-soaked stranger who, with one humble question, had managed to wake something he thought he'd lost forever. Hours passed unnoticed. The restaurant had long emptied, the waiters clearing tables in silence, but at the far corner, Ethan and Clara were still talking. Between bites of warm soup and bread, she told him her story, not to gain pity, but because he asked. She'd once worked in a flower shop. Her mother had fallen ill, and Clara had sold everything, her jewelry, her clothes, her savings, and on to afford the medicine. When her mother passed, the rent slipped through her fingers, one unpaid week at a time. She'd been sleeping in shelters ever since. Ethan listened in silence, his chest tightening. He'd spent his life surrounded by success stories, polished lies, people who wanted to impress him. But here she was, no pretense, no performance, and just a young woman who had faced life's cruelty with grace and a trembling smile. When the waiter brought dessert, she shook her head quickly. "No, thank you. I've already had more than enough." Ethan smiled faintly. "You remind me of someone," he said quietly. "Someone special?" He nodded. "My mother. She grew up poor. Always told me, a full stomach isn't worth much if your heart's empty." I didn't understand that until tonight. Clara looked at him, really looked, and saw through the tailored suit, the diamond watch, the perfect mask. Behind it was a man just as lonely as she was. When they stepped outside, the rain had stopped. The city lights glowed on the wet pavement. and for a moment it felt like the world had been washed clean. Clara turned to him. "Thank you, sir, for the meal, and for treating me like a person." Ethan's throat tightened. "Clara, do you have somewhere to stay?" She hesitated. "There's a shelter. It's full most nights, but I can usually find a spot." He reached into his coat, pulled out a card, and pressed it into her hand. "My office. Come tomorrow morning. Tell them Ethan Hale sent you." Her eyes widened. "Sir, I don't—" He smiled. "You don't owe me anything. Just come. Please." The next morning when she arrived, still in the same coat, the receptionist led her straight to his office. On the desk sat a warm breakfast, a cup of coffee, and a letter addressed to her in neat handwriting. No one should beg for leftovers in a world full of abundance. Let's start over, together, building something that feeds more than hunger. And when she looked up, Ethan was standing there, smiling softly, the morning light behind him. That day, a miracle didn't come from heaven. It came from a moment of kindness when one broken soul reached for another, and both found something worth living for again.